The editor-in-chief of the Star, Miss Ami Pamintuan, all the way from Parañaque City.
Hi Ed, hi Ronald. Ed, diyang papabili sa Rome pa yan, hindi pa yan sa France. Nasa France pa si Ronald.
Oh,
Hindi, natense ako doon sa Papalicious.
alam mo, tanda mo yung commercial ng
Ketchup lang yung
papakaisarap-sarap?
ketchup.
Anong ketchup yun?
Papa-ketchup lang yun.
Oh, ketchup yun. Yung mga nasa tamang edad, alam yun.
Banana ketchup lang yun.
Banana ketchup. Oh, bagay na bagay sa fried chicken, di ba? Okay. Anyway, tama. Paano ni Tito Ronald yun? Anyway, Ami, anong top story mo today?
Iniintay pa natin yung i-file ng DFA, of course, yung protest. Siguro within the day, kaya na yung i-file eh. Saka, iniisip namin kung ano ba yung Christmas Fellowship.
Oo nga eh.
Sabi nila, ang sabi ng mga congressman, di naman daw pinag-usapan yung impeachment. Pero, bakit ka mag-i-issue ng statement of support without explaining kung bakit kailangan mo yung statement of support without mentioning the Dutertes na yun lang naman ang lumalaban doon sa sa administrasyon ngayon. At mababanggit mo ba ang mga Duterte without mentioning the impeachment? But anyway, yun ang official statement.
Tatawa-tawa yan.
Christmas lang yung Christmas.
Parang bago ko pa sa Philippine politics eh.
Basta officially, fellowship lang, fellowship. Baka gift-giving lang yung Christmas. Exchange gift duran.
Parang yung Fellowship of the Ring. Fellowship of the Ring bago lumusok kay Sauron.
So sino si Sauron?
Sino si Sauron?
Sino si Frodo?
Sauron, ha?
He who cannot be named.
Hindi, yung cannot be named. Harry Potter yun eh. That's Harry Potter. You're mixing your movies. You're mixing your books.
Naghalo na.
Tito Ronald talaga.
Si Sauron,
sino sa Harry Potter, parang si Sauron din sa Lord of the Rings.
Okay, pero so we're looking at actually that's one of the things we want to follow up on eh. Ano talaga nangyari kagabi, ano talaga napag-usapan, at ano ang hindi pinag-usapan, at ano ang officially iniwasan.
Sagot yun sa kwan.
Fellowship nga lang.
Sagot yun dun sa kwan. Nagtatanim ako hanggang libingan. Hindi ako nagpapatawad. Kaya mo yun, Ami? Ikaw ba, Ami, nagpapatawad ka?
May soundbite sana tayo yun
Hindi,
eh.
at least honest siya. Sabi niya, Vice Presidente ko, so I have to tell you, maging forgiving kayo this Christmas. Pero ako, hindi ko kaya mag-forgive. At least honest siya.
Yan ang hinahanap daw ng mga Pilipino, yung sense of candidness and honesty. Ito soundbite. Ito soundbite, Bok. Pakinggan natin soundbite.
Yan.
Pasko po ay panahon ng pagpapatawad, pagmamahalan, at pagbibigay. Forgiving, giving, and loving. Lagi ko pong sinasabi na depende po yan sa tao. Pero dahil ako ay Vice President, kailangan ko sabihin sa inyo na yan po ang mensahe at diwa ng Pasko. Pero po ako, hindi po talaga ako magpapatawad. Pero kailangan ko sabihin sa inyo na ang Pasko ay panahon ng pagpapatawad. Nasa sa inyo na yan. Kung magpapatawad kayo, dahil iba-iba naman ang tao eh. Diba? Meron sa atin mabilis magpatawad, meron sa atin matagal, at meron sa atin dinadala na talaga sa hukay ang galit.
Oh, di ba? Teka, kayo kasi wag yung lalagyan ng mali siya yan. Baka mamaya hindi
Wala.
Baka hindi politika pinag-usapan. Baka Maris Racal and Anthony Jennings sa pinag-usapan yun na yung pagpapatawad tsaka yung pagmamahal.
Christmas season lang yan, Christmas message.
Tsaka, pag naglabas ka ng video, hindi kita papatawarin, di ba? Ganun yun eh. Ganun yung message doon kay Jennings.
Napanood mo na ba?
Pareho din yung statement ng Malacanang tungkol doon sa fellowship,
Fellowship of the Ring. Pero Ami, ganyan din yung statement dati ni Juan eh. Ni Digong eh. Medyo malapit-lapit yan, di ba? Yung kanyang Christmas message. Merry Christmas sa lahat ng mga drug lords, sa lahat ng mga
Ay, oo.
kriminal,
I remember that.
etc. No? Huli nyo ng Pasko to. Diba? Parang ganun eh. Ganun yung hibla niyan eh. Huli nyo ng Pasko to.
LTE.
Ang ganda talaga ng memory ni Tito
Bakit na
Ronald. No?
gano'n naka-LTE siya?
Okay. Ay, mga Bok, I think we have our guest already on the line.
Yes.
Can we bring her in
Yes.
already? Our guest for today is Batangas 2nd District Representative Jereville Jinky Luistro. Congressman Luistro is also a member of the House Justice Committee. I think the Vice Chairman, if I get it right.
Yes.
Ma'am,
Yes.
magandang hapon and thank you for joining us.
Good
afternoon po.
afternoon to this very dynamic team. Ami, Sir Ronald, and Mr. Lingao.
Yes, ma'am.
And maraming
Mga
salamat po
chismosa.
for having me in your program. Naaliw ko sa kwentuhan nyo.
Magandang hapon, Kong. We meet
Good
you at
afternoon
last.
po.
Yes, ma'am. We meet you at last. Worry not. We will not talk about. Maris Racal and Company. We will go into other pressing issues of the nation, especially what happened last night again, and not about love teams, but yung pagpupulong sa Malacanang po. Of course, we understand that there are things that you probably would not be too free to talk about, but we'll try to push the envelope kahit paano. There's a lot of discussion about whether or not the president should be taken literally when he says no impeachment at this point. I'm wondering if that was discussed, if that was also a topic last night in Malacanang with, of course, the congressional leadership. Because, of course, ma'am, dalawa na naipapile na complaint. You're aware of that. So everybody's watching and waiting. Ano po ang nakuhang signal ng Kongreso sa Malacanang?
Actually, what was the president's pronouncement to the media, to the public about no impeachment? Wala din namang nabanggit kagabi, no? As a matter of fact, politically, hindi significant yung naging what you call fellowship, except that we presented the resolution manifesting our support to the leadership of His Excellency President Bongbong Marcos. No? As a matter of fact, I do not intend to disclose really what happened last night kasi it's not political. It is just the usual visit to the President, and in time for Christmas, bumati po tayo, and some of us rendered a Christmas song, and then we presented the resolution that we are manifesting our support. No discussion at all about the impeachment. As a matter of fact, most of us were anticipating really that somehow the president will make some pronouncement or guidance perhaps as to the two impeachment complaints which are pending already in the House of Representatives. But apparently wala eh. Walang discussion at all. So
Kong,
Yes,
walang
boss.
utos sa Fellowship of the Ring na lumusob kay Sauron.
wala pong discussion at all about the impeachment, no? So, with his silence last night, I think he is standing with his prior pronouncement that he does not support impeachment because it does not help even a single Filipino. That's my understanding, Sir Ronald.
Congresswoman, meron naman mga speculation. Bakit daw kinakailangan na mag-issue ng resolution of support sa presidente
Ma'am
ang
Abby,
Congress?
Yeah, we always do that from time to time, no? It's not only because there are challenges concerning the issues on impeachment, pero ako first termer kasi ako eh. But since I came in Congress, it has been the practice of the majority na i-renew, i-rekindle, i-remanifest yung aming suporta to the leadership of the President. So, I don't see anything unusual or special about the manifestation of support that happened last night. It is the same manifestation of support that we've been doing since we assumed office back in July of 2022.
Okay, ma'am. Sige, ma'am, that's fair. Sige, if there was no discussion at all there was no mention at all last night by the President of impeachment, well, let me put it this way na lang. What about you po with your colleagues outside of any discussion with Malacanang? Kamusta po ang pag-uusap ninyo ng inyong mga kasamahan sa Kongreso as far as the possibility of impeachment is concerned, especially in light of the President's earlier pronouncement na wag niyong pagtuunan ng pansin yan. Pabayaan ninyo.
Let us be reminded about the principle of separation of power.
Yes, ma'am.
We understand and we do recognize the prerogative of the president to maintain his position na ayaw niya ng impeachment. It distracts the Philippine nation. It does not help even a single Filipino here in our country, no? Kaya lang we have to acknowledge the fact na kung may trabaho ang ehekutibo, mayroon din pong trabaho ang Kongreso. In the same way na may trabaho din ang judiciary. Ito pong pag-take up ng, at the very least, 2 impeachment complaint which are already pending before us is a constitutional duty on the part of the Congress. Wala po yung option na hindi i-take up eh. The only option is to take up. And then when we take up, we can either approve or disapprove. That's my understanding, Ed. No? So, I believe na ganito rin po ang understanding ng ating mga colleagues, especially yung mga kasama ko sa Committee on Justice and even my chairman in the Quadcom. Kahapon po, I had the chance na makausap itong mga chairman ko sa Quadcom and we are raising questions. Ano na bang gagawin natin dito? But at the end of the day, isa lang yung conclusion namin lahat. We have a work to do and that is to take up the impeachment complaints. That is the constitutional duty. Whether we approve or we disapprove, that is a separate and a different matter which will happen first sa Committee on Justice and after which sa plenary. No?
Yes, ma'am.
I was reminded also the other day by my chairwoman in the Committee on Justice, the Honorable Congresswoman Juliet Ferrer, O Jinky, you need to be active again in the Committee on Justice. We have a work to do, particularly referring, of course, to the impeachment complaints, which are already pending before the House. Although, to this date or as of yesterday, I was in Congress. I have no word yet whether the same was included already in the order of business for our session this coming Monday or on the days to come. So, kung anong discussion with our colleagues, I think we share the same opinion. We have a work to do. This is a constitutional duty. And notwithstanding the fact that the president made his pronouncement already, we have to acknowledge the separation of power. That is the stand of the president. Pero pagdating sa Kongreso, we have a work to do. We cannot turn our back to our constitutional duty. And that is to accept and to take up the impeachment complaints.
Kong, meron na ba kayong indicative timeline, indicative plan? Kahit indicative lang, dun sa work to do. Halimbawa, paano i-consolidate yung 2 impeachment na na-file, kailan magsisimula sa Justice Committee, no, etc. Dahil hindi limited na lang yung inyong session days this December. No, para ngayon Christmas parties na eh. At saka sabi mo nga, kung may ilang kongresista na kumanta sa Malacanang, baka later gusto namin malaman sino yung mga kumanta at kung meron silang tono. No?
Some friends who are very good in singing. A couple of friends who really sing well, no? Ganun lang kasimple. About the timeline, Sir Ronald, no? Since I am a first-termer, I have not actually experienced pa how to be involved in this impeachment process, no? At least from the side of the Congress, no? But I understand na we have a period of 10 days.
10 days, ma'am.
To include these impeachment complaints in the order of business, no? And then after the same is included in the order of business, we have a period of 3 days to refer the impeachment complaints to the Committee on Justice. Once in the Committee on Justice, it has a period of 60 days to resolve, meaning after conducting hearings, we have to vote whether to approve or not to approve the impeachment complaints. Sir Ronald mentioned about the two impeachment complaints. How do we do about it? My understanding is we have to consolidate it. We have to review the grounds that were chosen by the complainants, used by the complainants. We have to see to it that the complaint are compliant with the form and substance, no? So pag sinabi natin may capacity ba itong complainant to file this complaint? Tapos, verified ba ang complaint? Tama ba yung mga grounds na ginamit? That is my understanding. And about compliance with substance, the grounds must be substantiated by facts and evidence as alleged in the complaint. So, etong dalawang ito, once taken into consideration in the Committee on Justice, I believe that we have to consolidate these two impeachment complaints and we have to refer back one impeachment complaint only to the plenary, which will be due for approval by at least 1/3 of the members of the House of Representatives. And going back to the, yeah?
Congresswoman, minimum expectation lang kasi magpapasko na eh. By next week, ano kaya ang pwedeng maasahan ng mga tao? Minimum lang, what can happen? Kasi medyo marami ang articles of impeachment na yan that you are consolidating. Nadagdagan pa ng second complaint. Siguro, you already have an idea kung gaano kabilis sa pwedeng trabahuhin yan ng committee. Mga before the Christmas break, ano kaya ang pwede naming asahan? The public.
Alam mo kasi, Ma'am Ami, no? We are a collegial body. I am just one of the several members of the Justice Committee. I'm just one of the several members of the 19th Congress of the Philippines. So I really cannot tell how many days will it take, except by referring to the number of days as provided in our rules. I acknowledge that there will be some other admin matters to be taken up while it is with the office of the SecGen, until it is referred to the plenary, until it is referred to the Committee on Justice, and until it is referred back to the plenary, no, for endorsement to the Senate. But from my personal standpoint, no, kasi ang tinatanong ng marami, kaya pa ba? Kaya pa ba? I wish to raise one legal issue, no. Ako po naniniwala na kung yung part ng Congress ang pag-uusapan, kaya pa before the 2025 election. Kasi after the Christmas break, we still have January, February, March, and April, no? And the committee is given 60 days to approve or disapprove the impeachment complaint that goes back to the plenary, no? Ang issue na lang is, suppose we refer it or we endorse it to the Senate before election. Pwede pa ba itong ituloy ng Senado after the 2025 election? I am anchoring this legal question on the fact na mayroon tayong 12 senador sitting in the Senate and their terms are not interrupted by the 2025 election. Kasi nag-start sila 2022. And apparently by 2025, there are sitting senators because their term will end in 2028 pa. So I ask my colleagues, has there been an impeachment process na na-interrupt ng election, nakatapos ang Kongreso before election, it was referred to the Senate, and then after election, tinuloy ng Senate? I asked some friends to check with the Philippine Constitution, with the rules and even the jurisprudence. And our existing laws and jurisprudence are all silent. In other words, this is an issue which is new and still debatable. So this is a legal question really that I wish to raise, considering that everybody is talking about kaya pa ba, kaya pa ba. So my answer is, if we're talking only about that portion of the Congress, I believe kaya pa. But the question is it legally possible really na after election, itutuloy ng Senate yung impeachment trial.
Baka,
So, ma'am, hindi
baka
pa pala
po,
siya resolved.
Hindi lang legal practical. Kung hindi ka na senador, anong ginagawa mo ron? Di ba?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Sir Ronald, we have to consider yung 12 hindi naman midtermer. Kasabay na na-elect ng presidente back in 2022. Ibig
Yes.
sabihin, continuous yung term nila.
Yes.
Hindi na-interrupt ang Senate, di ba?
Yes.
It's there in spite of the midterm elections. So, ano kaya ang magiging tamang pananaw considering na the Senate also has a work to do, nag-endorse na ang Congress, are they still in the proper and legal position to continue with the impeachment trial notwithstanding the fact na nagkaroon ng prior 2025 midterm election? I do not have an answer yet.
Ma'am, that's an interesting
Because I believe-
legal conundrum
Kaya
kasi
po, crucial yung tanong namin kanina, yung indication ng timeline. Because halimbawa, yung kay Corona, na-file ng December, natapos ng December 12. So, time is also relative. Kung gaano kabilis magpoproseso yung Kongreso at saka Senado. Halimbawa, kung may indication ba na pwedeng magkaroon sa Kongreso ng bilyar framework, yung fast track, yung impeachment, nagbotohan kagad? May ganun bang indication? Dahil kung mabibilis yung impeachment sa House at aakyat sa Senate sa January, then feasible pa yon before the election, kahit uphill, no? Kaya yun, mahalaga yung yung indications ng time. At this point, no, mahalaga yung time, hindi lang yung legal process, yung panahon.
You are correct about that. We can take that route na diretso na sa approval ng plenary or while in the Committee on Justice, the impeachment complaint is able to solicit the support of 1/3 of the House members even prior to the conclusion of the Committee on Justice. Bibilis talaga yon. Diretso na sa Senate, no? Yung dinidiscuss ko po kanina, I am assuming the normal route na dadaan siya sa Committee on Justice at magkakaroon ng hearing for a period of 60 days at the very least, no? Although I understand the same is all likewise extendable just like in any other committees, no? But you're asking Sir Ronald about the indication. I lament that I don't see any indication. Actually, everybody is asking what's gonna happen with the impeachment trial. May instruction ba? May guidance ba? Pero wala talaga eh. Kaya the only reference that I can share with you is the same pronouncement that the president did in his public announcement during his press con na ayaw niya ng impeachment because it does not help the Philippine nation, no? Kaya lang, this is a constitutional duty and to this date, we have not convened yet really kung ano bang timeline, ano bang guidance mayroon ang House on how we're going to take up these 2 impeachment complaints. So the least we can do, at least for me as member of the Committee on Justice, is to make strict reference to what is provided under the Constitution and under the rules of the House of Representatives. Although you're very much correct, Sir Ronald, merong the third mode of filing an impeachment is when you file it by 1/3 of the House members, in which case you do not need an actual full-blown hearing before the Justice Committee and you can right away endorse it to the Senate. And that will actually save so much time. And if that happens, yes, I agree with you, kakayanin pa with a period of 3 months to conclude the impeachment trial by the Senate, no? Siguro,
Yes.
the remaining question na lang doon ay kung ito bang ating mga senador will still have time to sit as
or to campaign.
judges of the impeachment court, considering that we also need to prepare for the 2025 election. I myself, I am a candidate also for Batangas 2nd District, and I'm struggling for my time for campaign because of the obligations that we have in the House of Representatives. But at the end of the day, I am inclined to believe constitutional duty to, congressman man o senador man, we should be ready to discharge our duty.
Ma'am, you raised an interesting legal conundrum kanina, yung what happens after the elections, whether or not itutuloy pa rin yung existing impeachment complaint. Well, the three of us, of course, we're not lawyers pero I think the three of us were working on the assumption na magre-reset lahat with the after the elections. Just like any bill na pag final mo tapos inabutan ka ng eleksyon, back to zero ka kung hindi natapos. So hindi pa pala resolvado yun. It's still up in the air. It's still up for legal discussion and legal resolution.
To be specific, Ed, no, Sir Ed, parang ang gusto kong maging question sana doon, will the disqualification for the next impeachment complaint apply? Considering na meron ng naunang impeachment complaint tapos hindi tinuloy ng Senate for purposes of trial.
Apo.
So that is one question. The second question is the Senate still in the legal position to continue with the impeachment trial considering na may 12
You have a
senators
new set of
whose
12.
terms were never interrupted by the 2025 election, no? I'm sharing this to you guys kasi gusto ko ring marinig yung insight, legal opinions ng napakarami nating legal luminaries here in the Philippines, no? I hope that in one of your programs, we will be able to hear from legal luminaries kung anong tamang appreciation dito. Or perhaps, baka kamukha ng sinabi ng aking mga kaibigang judges and lawyers, this is something that need to be resolved by the Supreme Court yet.
Okay.
Ako, baka isa na kayo sa mga bagong ngayon bagong legal luminaries natin. Whether you
I
like
don't
it
think
or
so.
not.
I don't think so, Sir Ronald. Tayo po ay, we are a low-profile Batangueña who was given this opportunity to join this squad team, and I am really grateful to my chairman for giving me the trust and the confidence to be one of the interpellators and members of the Quadcom.
Kami nga po ni Ed
Congresswoman,
Jingaw,
nag-issue ng statement yung ano.
natawag kami ni Attorney Torion na hindi learned.
Unlearned. Anyway, huwag ka na humugot dyan. Hugot ka pa dyan Kasi may tanong mo.
Congresswoman, nag-issue ng statement ang Iglesia ni Cristo
Yeah.
supporting the text message of President Marcos na huwag nang pag-aksayahan daw ng panahon yung impeachment. You think the INC will have strong persuasive powers sa House? May influensya kaya yun?
I have a high regard for Iglesia ni Cristo, no? Talagang admirable ang kanilang unity. They decide as one, no? They act as one. At ako po'y naniniwala dun sa sinasabi nilang they're not siding anyone. Hindi sila kumakampi sa administrasyon, hindi rin sila kumakampi sa mga Duterte. They're after the welfare of the Filipino people. Ang hinahanap po nila ay ang pagkakaisa instead of divisiveness kasi hindi po nakakatulong itong mga divisiveness na ito pag ang pinag-usapan ay interest ng ating mga kapwa Pilipino. However, in the face of that high regard in favor of the INC, babalik po ako dun sa sinabi ko kanina. We have a constitutional duty to take up these impeachment complaints. That is one thing. Whether we approve or we disapprove, that is another thing, no? Magkakaiba po tayo ng perspective. Ang Pangulo po, may kanyang perspective being the head of the executive. Tayo po sa Kongreso, may sarili kaming perspective having this constitutional duty to take up these impeachment complaints. Ang Iglesia ni Cristo po, being a religious group, have their own perspective as well na hindi po priority sa kanila itong mga political process na to, impeachment process na ito. Ang importante po sa kanila ay ang interest ng mamamayang Pilipino. Even the judiciary, they have their own perspective. So, I think what is important, we are honest to our duty to the Constitution, and we will just have to comply with our constitutional mandate. Ika nga, may kanya-kanya tayong trabaho. Let's just do good with our respective jobs. And at the end of the day, ang mahalaga, isa lang ang interest ng lahat. That is the best interest of the Filipino people.
Yan kasi kung ang problema sa ating bansa lahat ng mga nagbubunggo ang puwersa, dala nila yung interest ng bansa.
I agree. And we have different ways of how we appreciate and how we fight for the interest of this Filipino people. I just hope that we find the common ground, no? Kahit magkakaiba po tayo ng perspective, since we have one goal, sana along the way, we find one common ground para tuluyan po nating mapanatili at may paglaban ang interes ng ating mga kapwa Pilipino.
Pero kung pag-assassination ang usapan, baka mahirapan.
Even
Medyo-
that pronouncement has different interpretations, di ba? Ang sabi ng ating Vice President, taken out of logical context, no? So, mahirap talaga na nagpro-pronounce ka publicly, no? Kasi subject to different interpretations, and even the author of the pronouncement has a different interpretation, no? While everybody believes that that is an attempt to assassin the president, the first lady, and the House Speaker, iba pala yung konteksto ng author ng pronouncement, because she's claiming that the interpretation of the president is outside its logical context.
At saka may opinion yung ating legal luminary, si Senator Bato. Ang tawag niya dyan ay conditional threat. First time ko nakarinig nun kahit hindi ako learned, Pong, no? Kahit hindi ako learned, doon ako nakarinig ng conditional threat. Magaling.
Oh, siguro it's because of what do you call this? Different political alliances, because it also affects on how you appreciate things, no? Siguro, pag sinabi mo yung pronouncement na yon, iba interpretation ng pro-administration, iba interpretation ng opposition. That's how I understand it, no? But at the end of the day, we are thinking individuals, and everybody was able to hear that pronouncement. I think what matters is kung ano ang naging understanding ng sambayan ng Pilipino. And I wish to believe na naging understanding ng mas nakararami is there is really a threat against the President, the First Lady, and the House Speaker.
Ma'am, cambio lang ako ng konti. Earlier this month, naglabas ang Commission on Audit ng what it calls an unmodified opinion dun sa 2023 spending ng OVP. Ang interpretation being it's an unqualified opinion na walang nahanap na irregularity for 2023 ang COA for the OVP. Now that opinion is being used by the OVPs by the VP's supporters as supposed proof na walang irregularidad ang spending ng VP.
Sir Ed, we have to be very specific. Ano ba yung tinutukoy ng unmodified opinion na yon? Kasi during the time of hearing, I understand that there are standing audit observation memo pertaining to the 375 million confidential fund that were irregularly utilized by the Office of the Vice President. So, what really are they pertaining to with respect to that unmodified opinion? Alin yung hindi na bago? What is the original opinion that they are pertaining to when they are saying unmodified? Alin yung hindi na bagong opinion?
Well, the other thing I wanted to point out is is it correct to say na it's a different auditing unit that looks into confidential intelligence funds, yung ICFAO, Intelligence and Confidential Funds Auditing
You
Unit.
are correct, Sir Ed, no? Iba po ang nag-audit sa regular funds, iba po ang nag-audit doon sa Confidential Intelligence Fund, ICFAO, ang tawag doon sa nag-audit dito sa Intelligence and Confidential. And we have to make sure, alin ba ang tinutukoy ng unmodified opinion? Kasi yung standing AOM, as of the date of hearing dito sa OVP, it pertains to the 175 million times 3/4, equivalent to 375 million of the 2023 confidential fund of the Office of the Vice President.
So it may be a different thing altogether. I mean, we may be looking at
Yes.
apples and oranges.
It could refer to a regular fund. It could refer to a portion of the confidential fund. We have to be specific. Alin po ba yung sinabi nyo na hindi nabago ang opinion nyo pertaining to the audit of the budget of the Office of the Vice President?
Okay.
Kung dumating na ba yung Christmas cards galing sa Malacanang?
Christmas cards. Wala
Wala
pa
pa.
po akong nabasang Christmas cards from Malacanang.
Baka nandun kasi kung nandun yung instructions.
I doubt if the president will ever give instructions. Kasi even myself, I was anticipating also that somehow, after that pronouncement, we will be receiving instructions, especially for us, squad members, no? Pero wala talaga eh. So, I think
Pero inamin yata niya na nag-send siya ng text message.
Yeah. That is the instruction I believe that that the president issued na ayaw niya ng impeachment,
Yes.
no?
Yes.
Kaya lang nga, we have a duty to do, no? So notwithstanding the opinion of the president, kailangan talaga i-take up ng Congress yung impeachment complaints.
Ma'am, ako last question na lang. Follow up dun sa tanong ni Ami earlier about yung Iglesia ni Cristo statement. Kasi it was not a simple statement per se. Kasama dun sa statement is the announcement that they are mobilizing their
Yes.
locals
Magrarally.
para mag-rally against impeachment. Of course, wala pang petsa at wala pang lugar. Pero I'm wondering, from your point of view, would that have an effect on congressmen? Kasi kahit paano, those are warm bodies that will go out into the streets. And we've seen that as late as 2015, nagrally ang Iglesia ni Cristo sa EDSA, nagka-traffic dahil ang daming tao. So it does, nakakabulaga nga talaga yun. I don't know how that goes for people running for re-election in a few months.
Pero Ed, kahit
I-
walang rally, may punong-puno ng traffic yung EDSA.
O, sabagay.
Sir Ed, I am actually inclined to believe that this rally will have significant effect for re-electionists, no? Kung anong magiging stand nila sa pagboto sa impeachment, whether a congressman running for re-election or a senator running for re-election, this is a thing that they have to consider as well. Considering the unity that the Iglesia ni Cristo has been demonstrating in all matters, including political concerns, no? So, ito ay
Realpolitik.
factor to be considered by all re-electionists.
It's reality.
So kung hindi masyadong factor din yung higher purpose sa mga re-electionists, mas yung arithmetic.
It will depend now really on the personal perspective na ng mga kanya-kanya na sigurong isip yan at analysis ng mga congressman. Depende kung alin ba ang mas priority mo. Is it your re-election or is it your personal belief on and conviction on the issue that is confronting pertaining to this impeachment complaints, no?
Okay. Okay na. Ami, Ronald, bitaw na si Congresswoman.
Okay na.
Maraming salamat po.
Ma'am, sorry.
Sana
Thank you, Congresswoman.
Napiga ka
Maraming
namin ng isang buong
salamat po.
episode.
Nag-enjoy po ako sa inyong show and thank you really for having me here. I hope to join the program personally,
Yes, ma'am.
hindi
That'll be good.
virtually one of these days.
Okay.
We would love that, ma'am.
And let me greet, of
Sige.
course, my kababayan from Bini, Bawan, San Pascual, San Luis, Lobo, and Tingloy. Magandang hapon po sa lahat ng aking
Magandang
mga
hapon.
kadistrito.
Maraming salamat.
Good afternoon po.
Thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
Storycon. Batangas
Thank
2nd
you.
District Congresswoman Jerbil Jinky Luistro, who just joined us via Zoom. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Okay.
Ako kasi nakakuha ako ng Christmas card eh.
Ay, bakit? Ba't ang bilis mo? Nauna nung pa yung mga
Fake yan,
congressman.
fake.
May
Fake
instructions.
yan.
May instructions.
May instructions na, ha? Ma'am,
Fake yan, fake.
kuno mo ng picture, padala mo sa amin, ha? Babasahin namin. Alam mo, Bok, masaya ang usapan kanina with Congresswoman Jinky Luistro.
Naniniwala na kayo na fellowship lang, ha?
Missing
Oo
along
nga,
pa.
Fellowship of the Ring.
Missing along pa daw. Pero si...
Okay naman si Kong Luistro, very game, di ba? Tawa siya ng tawa.
Oo. Pero,
May kantahan pa, ha?
pero Tito Ronald, baka may iba ka pang chismis na ririnig dyan tungkol sa ano nangyari kagabi.
Si Ronald, tanong natin.
Oo.
Baka may nabalitaan ka ng dagdag, Ronald.
Hindi, the statement itself is a political statement. Di ba? Yung dinedepensahan mo yung presidente sa mga bumabati ko sa kanya, sa mga panganib, etc. etc. Sino yung source ng panganib?
Isa lang naman.
Mention. Si Kwan ba yun?
Isa lang naman yun ang problema nila. Isa lang naman yung source ngayon, eh.
Hindi naman Philippine Star yun. Hindi naman si Ed Zinco. Definitely, hindi ako. Di ba? So,
Wala na ba ibang source, eh?
The statement itself, the fellowship itself, is a political statement. Di ba?
Significant yung kung totoo yung sinasabi nila, ha, na walang sinabi si BBM, meaning hindi siya nagbago ng posisyon. Di ba?
Pero
Otherwise, he could have said, huwag niyong paniwalaan yung text message ko.
Yeah, that's
Pero,
true.
Yun, di ba?
pero Ami, hindi niya babawiin yan in public eh. Di ba? Hindi
Eh,
naman niya
yung private naman yan, eh.
Oo.
Private naman yan.
Dami.
Machismoso lang kasi nagbisto niyang fellowship na yan.
Ang dami.
Machismoso lang, nagbisto.
Ang daming
Hindi naman
bus-bus.
hindi naman lumabas yung dapat lumabas sa istoryang yan. May mga chismoso kasi na nagsabi na mayroong ongoing meeting. Hindi naman natin malalaman.
Sino kaya yung mga yun? No? Pero bus-bus eh. Ilang bus yung pumunta sa Malacanang eh. May tatago mo ba naman yung bus-bus sa Pilipinas? May tatago ba?
Hindi kapag doon sa kabilang gate mo dinaan, hindi ka agad makikita yun ng media, nandito sa kabila yung media. Diba? Nandito sa kabilang gate eh. Kung doon mo sa kabila, baka mga turista lang yun.
Pero
Diba?
Ami, medyo revealing din na hindi niya inulit yung kanyang statement. Tahimik
Yun na nga.
siya. Diba?
Oo, yun na nga.
Hindi niya inulit. No? Hindi niya inulit, pwedeng sabihin, pa rin yun, na-maintain pa rin yun. Pero dahil hindi niya inulit, pwedeng sabihin ng iba, baka merong ibang mensahe. No? Kaya nga sabi ko,
Baka naman iniisip niya kasi marami nagsalita na we are an independent branch. Merong mga ilang congressman na nagsabi noon nung he issued that statement we are an
Yes.
independent branch and he should respect the legislature. Merong mga nagsalita ng openly. Siguro nag-aalala din siya, ang dami. Malaking grupo yan Mabuti kung puro lang yan yung talagang yung talagang inner circle niya Mas honest siya. Pero ang dami kasi.
Si Ed, matagal ko nang sinasabi kay Ed na hindi rubber stamp ang Kongreso. Matagal ko nang sinasabi kay Ed, ayaw maniwala
Ako na
Bakit ka tumatawa May modicum of independence. May modicum of independence.
Modicum of independence.
Yan yung word for the month, modicum. Paulit-ulit yan sa Storycon, modicum.
May modicum of independence.
Hindi ko nakuha sa
Modicum
Soros
of
yan.
Christmas bonuses. No? Modicum of 13th month pay. No? Modicum of Chris Kringle. Puro modicum yan.
Sige, palitan ko na lang. A minimum of independence.
Hindi, okay na ako sa modicum. Mas gusto ko yung modicum.
Okay, sige. Nagkakaloka na tayo. Tama-tama, Biyernes bukas. So, tingnan natin kung may mangyayari pang ngayong weekend. Sana wala na. at para si Tito Ronald ay makapag-enjoy in his trips around Europe. Diba?
Nasa Normandy ako ngayon. Nasa
Normandy.
Normandy.
Oh.
And wow, nice.
Kaya nandito ako
Ganda-ganda
sa
dyan.
chateau. Nasa chateau
Ang
ako.
ganda-ganda dyan.
Shut
Ang laki nung kahoy.
Minalaan pa siyang chateau. Okay, sige. Maraming salamat for joining us this afternoon. Aming pamintuan ng editor ng Philippine Star at Tito Ral Llamas, ang ating resident political pundit from France. Join us again tomorrow at 4 p.m. for the Storycon. I'm Ed Lingao. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.